And I had somebody just say, no, we let Muhammad in and Herbert Muhammad in, and that was it. There was no one else in the studio but Ali himself and his manager. And Joe Fraser came with one person, I think, and I said, okay, and for Joe was not going to be a problem. Well, they had an hour together. I shot them in robes, I shot them like this, and they had a great time. They were so friendly. It was nothing like what you saw when he would do a show and they'd start brawling on the show, whether it was Johnny Carson or Dick Cavett, they would always end up because Ali saw publicity. But he had no one to show off to. I was kind of focused on my pictures. And the only time he did anything that was sort of classic Ali was when he looked at Fraser the way you see there. And of course, Joe had no idea it happened until he saw the cover of the magazine. But I will tell you, Joe loved the cover, so I was very comfortable because Joe Fraser was a very, very special guy as well. Just one of the nicest people you'd ever meet. That's the way the picture looked on the cover of Sports Illustrated. And because of this picture, Don King did something very special, which I'll show you in a minute. It was his way of paying me back, I guess. Not that I asked for anything. The only person I ever asked anything from was Jose Suleiman, and he delivered. But Don did pretty well for me. So this is the fight, of course, and I will say, I don't know if WBC ever asks you all what your favorite fight was or what the best fight you ever saw is. This is, for my money, the greatest fight I ever saw was the Thriller in Manila. I've never seen anything come close to it, and I've seen some pretty good fights, including Triple G and Canelo just a couple weeks ago. But this fight was pretty special. And the end, this is a very unusual picture. By the way, there I am in the blue shirt, I was in Fraser's corner, as you can see. And this is the ring card girl is in the ring for round 15, but Eddie Futch has just said, Joe has taken enough and we're not going to go on for 15. This is the only picture I've seen that shows the end of the fight this way. Well, the fight, of course, happened in the middle of the night. So it was 24 hours later, actually quite more than 24 hours later, that they did the press conference.
Wow.
Well, I'm sorry. First, the post-fight press conference. Both fighters, you can see, they've been in a pretty tough 14 rounds. And then Ali did what he always did. The next morning, this is in his suite in Manila. He invited all the press to his room. Nobody, this wasn't a press conference room. This was Muhammad Ali's suite at the hotel in Manila. And he just sat there for an hour and a half answering every question, even though you saw how beaten up he was. And the next day, the Marcoses made a dinner at the palace. It was not a press event. In fact, there were no press invited at all. The two cameras in the room were Howard Bingham's and mine, and I got there because Don King invited me to come with him, and he took me in his limousine, or I wouldn't have gotten in, I'm sure. And so I got a picture, here's a picture of Muhammad with Ferdinand and Emil de Marcos. And then, and I'll never forget this evening, Don said, you got to sit at our table, you won't be able to get any pictures. And he sat me at the table. You can see the Don King over on the right. You can see a little bit of his hair. And there's Ferdinand Marcos, Muhammad, and Rockman, and Emil is sitting right just to my right. And I was at the table with them, and he was just a memorable evening. And there are no other pictures like this, so. And here's the picture that I shot at that fight. Now, the cover of the magazine, by the way, is the championship. That's what every photographer dreams of getting, and particularly from an event like this. So I was thrilled to have had Cassius Clay's first cover, Clay Liston won, and Muhammad Ali Fraser cover, because these are fights I want to remember, and I love the pictures on the cover. He had the same corner. Ali was very loyal to his corner, and Angelo worked with him, Ferdy Pachenko, Youngblood, and Bundini Brown, and that's the corner of the Ali corner. And I like this picture just because there's so many years that these were the only people that worked with him. Ken Norton, he fought 3 times. This is the third fight, I believe, at Yankee Stadium. And Ali fought pretty well. He got the decision, but it was pretty evident that his skills were beginning to erode. He fought Ernie Chavez next, And he really, that fight was a very controversial decision. Again, Ali got the decision. I'm a fan, so I thought he won both fights, but you know, I'm a lousy scorer too, so. Also, a photographer sees a fight differently. You're looking for punches. You're looking for punches not necessarily because of how effective they are, but how good a photograph they make. And I'm always conscious of who took the better punches for my camera. And maybe scoring a fight, that's the last thing you're looking for. So this was the cover of Sports Illustrated. Then he fought Leon Spinks. I don't think he trained very hard. I don't think he took Spinks seriously at all. And he got beaten and lost the title. But again, being the good sport that Ali was, he showed up at the press conference. A lot of fighters wouldn't come to the press conference after losing a fight like that. But he showed up, and they set a rematch, which was set in the Superdome in New Orleans, and he beat Spinks very easily. I believe he stopped him. By the time he fought Larry Holmes, Ali was really spent. I mean, this wasn't his night. In fact, I think Holmes had a hard time, you know, punishing him, which he did. But they finally stopped the fight. And again, you can see this is round 8, and Ali decided, his corner decided he couldn't come out for round 8. That was pretty much the end. He fought, I think Ali fought 2 more fights, if I remember right, but I didn't cover either of those. On his 50th birthday, I pitched the idea to Sports Illustrated doing a cover. We had a cake made for him, and he really enjoyed the hell out of this. All he wanted to do was eat the cake. And so we take the pictures first. But that was the cover of Sports Illustrated. And that was Ali and I after I took the pictures. I did a GQ magazine chose, by this point I was freelancing, and GQ magazine chose Ali as Sportsman of the Century. This was part of a take I did for them. And what they did was shoot with his wife, Lonnie. The next cover story I did was on his best friend, Howard Bingham. We had a wonderful time. Howard was a friend of mine. And Howard was with Ali for as many years as anyone, certainly as long as I was, maybe longer. And Ali loved him, and this was taken at Ali's home in Berrien Springs, Michigan. One of the things, Ali received an award in Washington when I was shooting the Howard Bingham story, and I decided